Okay, Comp One, welcome back. I hope you had a great weekend. Hope you're ready for a good week ahead of you. This is the time of the year when we all have to work a little bit harder. All of your projects, I'm sure, are coming due. You got a lot of stress. Take a deep breath in through your nose, relaxed breath out through your mouth, and repeat as necessary. Make sure you're getting plenty of sleep, take your vitamins, all these things. Take good care of yourself because that is going to put you in the best possible position to do well on your homework, to show up for your friends, and to have relationships. And of course, we've got the holidays coming up right around the corner. So take good care of yourself. That is, I think so often it's an ignored aspect of education is self-care. So sleep is important. I know so often we want to ignore it, but it is important. Drink plenty of good quality water and get good sleep. Try to eat well. Try to reduce stress as much as you can. I know it's not always easy, and you're going to make it through just fine. Now, having said that, I'm going to give you some guidance as far as where we're going with this essay and what you should be doing this week. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick, and we'll take a quick look at this. So we are already to week 3, and on week 3 you're going to need to complete your outline. Now, if you haven't already noticed, I do have for you quite a few videos in the essay 4 project materials folder in the video lectures. So if you haven't already done so, make sure to watch them all. Now you're going to see some older videos that I did, and I've remade a few. Like for instance, the primer. I have 2 videos now to explain the essay because I feel like I explained them a little bit differently. Not so much that it would confuse you, but there's some things I say in the first video that I don't say in the second, and vice versa. I want you to have the complete explanation, so I just left the old one there. When you get to the part where it says how to set up the essay, that is what I want you to look at when you're thinking about outlining. Okay, so you've outlined a lot this semester, you understand the basics. What I want you to do is understand the basic things that you need to accomplish. So you're going to need to accomplish some goals. The first one, of course, is you're going to introduce your topic, and you're going to have that thesis statement. This will be an argumentative thesis statement, which means it should be clear that you have a position. So the thing is, like I've explained before, and like if you've seen the videos, I'm not asking you what your opinion is on this topic. I'm asking you to make an argument for a particular side of this topic. So I don't want any thesis statements to be, that's why I believe this or that. Again, people don't care what I think, right? Like if I were to go up to you and I'll tell you why I believe in whatever cause or why I think it's the right thing to do if you do it this way. Okay, that's great, Professor Coomer. Very nice. Go about your life and leave me alone, right? When it comes down to it, if you want to convince someone of something, you have to make it about them. You have to know your audience as well as possible. And you need to understand why your audience feels the way the audience feels about that topic. And you can't just assume that your audience is stupid or jerks or whatever. You have to give them some respect. So what you're going to need to do is really think, and of course this last week you already wrote your paragraph about who your audience is. Okay, that is the most important thing when it comes to an argument, is to understand who your audience is, what they believe, why they believe it, and that will give you an idea of what you need to speak to, the points that you need to make. Is my audience going to take this point seriously, or is it just going to say, well, I don't really care about that, that doesn't really matter to me, so you just wasted your time. So you want to make sure you know your audience. And in your essay, you're going to have a thesis statement in the introduction. And then there's 3 big jobs you're going to have to do. And again, I want you to watch this video. I explain it in more depth. And at least I have my whiteboard there to help you understand it. But you're going to provide context. So basically, why are we having this conversation in the first place? What is the history of this argument? You provide a little bit of context so that your audience, maybe your audience has never heard of this topic before. So you got to let your audience know, hey, this is essentially what this argument is all about, or this is what this issue is all about. And in that part, you don't want to make it seem like you're trying to already convince them. You just want to let them know, hey, you know what? I'm a rational person. I assume you're a rational person. I'm just going to let you know, in a fair and unbiased way, this is essentially the way that the way it is. And the thing is, if you do that well, even people who disagree with you will say, okay, well, I agree with you so far. I'll listen to you. And that's the goal of any good argument, is to say, listen, I'm a trustworthy person. I'm a person who is a rational person. I'm not going to try to con you or anything like that. And what you're doing right there is you're providing an ethical appeal. You're saying, listen, you can trust me. And you're establishing trust with the reader. And then you're going to move into the actual argumentative portion, the part where you provide reasons why your thesis statement is correct. And those will just be a paragraph. So you got one paragraph about here's one reason, another paragraph, here's another reason. And you try to back up those reasons with research. So that's where you're going to use your sources. So you have to use at least 3 sources. 2 of them are coming from the VU Online Library. 1 of them is coming from your textbook. So however you want to do that, but essentially the goal here is to use those sources to support something that you're already saying, not to repeat something that you were already saying, but say, okay, for instance, 9 out of 10 doctors agree that this toothbrush is the best toothbrush. In fact, the Journal of American Medical Association states that, and then you quote the Journal of American Medical Association, remembering to cite at the end. And that's something, of course, you want to make sure to remember. We're citing these things appropriately. If you need help on how to cite these things, it is not a secret. Okay, take a look at, in Essay 2, I provide you with some basic information on how to paraphrase and quote. Already this semester, I've asked you to read about how to use sources. But also, if you just want a quick answer, if you're just like, I don't want to do all this reading, I just need a quick answer, just search with Google. I mean, how to cite whatever in MLA, how to do in-text citation in MLA. It's very simple, and sometimes that's the best possible way to do it is just look it up. We do have, for instance, I've got my trusty handbook here. That's why we have you buy, the VU Online, the VU handbook. All of your answers are here, so you can look it all up. And if you want, you can go to, let's see, where would it start? It's part 7, and it starts on page 418. So 418 in your handbook. So all of the answers are right there. That is where students from generations in the past, that's where, for instance, whenever I took this class, I had to go and I had to look it all up. You have the benefit of the modern internet, which we did not have. We could click on some things and we had dial-up, but that was about it. But basically, that is your resource, and that's what you're expected to do. As a college student, you're expected to be resourceful and to do the work on your own, to find out, okay, how do I cite this appropriately? So make sure if you can look through your handbook or you can Google it. It doesn't really matter how you find the answer, how to do the in-text citation and the works cited entry, as long as you do it appropriately. And remember, last week I showed you how to do the works cited entries for your summaries. So if you forgot, take a look at last week's video and I explained that. But basically, all of the rest of these videos, I will be adding more videos throughout this week, but really you don't need any extra videos. I've explained it really well in these older videos. I just like making these new videos to be a little bit more fancy. So it's, a little bit more, I guess, polished videos, but these older videos, it explains it just fine. So take a look at all these videos. I do have a video to explain the annotated bibliography. Again, it's not that hard, really. It's just, it sounds like it's hard. So don't get scared by the annotated bibliography. And again, take a look at the instructions for the annotated bibliography. And I give you examples of what those entries should look like. Give you quite a bit of information here on annotated bibliography stuff. So make sure to look through that really well. I've got an example annotated bibliography that's annotated. It's an annotated. Anyway, the point is it's very thorough as far as this is what it should look like. This is why these things are the way they are. And just take a look at that. You should have no problems. It's really something that when you get started, at first it might feel a little intimidating, but once you get started, generally most people do just fine on this, and usually it's an easy A, or at least an easy A, easy B. Remember, in your annotated bibliography, there are 3 things that I really am looking for. One is that you got 2 to 5 sentences briefly summarizing the source. And don't just say, like, for instance, if your argument is about some kind of like environmental issue, don't just be really general on your summary. Don't, because if you summarize 3 sources and all 3 of those summaries, they sound the same, well, you're not going to be able to tell the difference whenever you go back to them. Okay, which one was it that provided me with this particular piece of information? Make sure it's clear. Specifics really do count in that 2 to 5 sentences. And then you're going to have 1 to 3 sentences explaining why the source is a good source for your essay. Again, we look at the crap sheet, and again, that is in the annotated bibliography materials folder, the crap test source evaluation materials. Just try to use the vocabulary that is on this sheet, and you're going to get an easy A on this part. It's current because of this. It's relevant because of this. Take a look at the things that make it current, that make it relevant, and just write according to that. And then the next thing is 1 to 3 sentences. How do you plan to use it in your essay? This should be insanely easy. Okay, I plan to use it in an essay dedicated to proving this one point, or I plan to use it whenever, for instance, in the refutation, which is that 3rd part of the essay that you'll have to do, where you overcome an objection. So make sure you're watching the videos. Make sure you're looking over all the assignment materials. This is a time where a lot of people, they start to get kind of burned out on the classes, and you get, really kind of, we get lazy, we get tired, we get kind of fatigued. But don't do that now, because now is whenever the most points are on the table. Now is the highest stakes for this class and every other class you're ever going to take. And it's just the way college classes work. The end of the class generally is worth the most. So work really hard to get there. So this week, as far as things that are due, the big thing is your rough drafts. So you're going to complete your outline, but you're going to upload the rough draft of essay 4 to the discussion board. So by the end of this week, you should have a finished essay, okay, a finished argumentative essay. And you're going to upload that essay to the discussion board 4. You're also going to upload your annotated bibliography. So you're going to do both of these things. And remember, it's in the discussion boards, and you'll be doing discussion board 4. Let's see here. And then also we got the annotated bibliography. Now, all you got to do is upload it here. I mean, it's easy to miss, right? So we got discussion board 4 is the 1 through 4 is got all these questions, but we do have discussion board 5. And you just upload that there, and you're going to do a peer review for both of these next week. And so by next week on Wednesday, you need to look over at least 2 people's uploads. So for the essay 4 and for the essay 5, look over those and provide some feedback for your classmates. But this week, all you have to do is complete those 2 things and upload them. And I say that's all you have to do. I mean, that's a lot of work. So work hard, work early. Don't procrastinate. I know everybody we're human beings. We love to procrastinate, but I guarantee you that the work is not going to get any easier if you wait. You're not going to have this sudden rush of inspiration. I know it feels like that sometimes, but believe me, if you start early and you work hard all week, you're going to have a much better product. And then these peer reviews are going to be far more beneficial to you. And then you're going to hand in a much better essay the following week whenever the final drafts are due. Okay, so keep working hard. I should be completed with grading your essay 3 by probably at the latest Wednesday of next week. But I usually finish earlier than that. My goal is normally to try to have everything done within 2 weeks. So I try to get that taken care of. So this week I'm going to be grading pretty hard and heavy. So far, from what I've seen from essay 3, what I've graded, most of you guys have done very well. So I'm really pleased with what I've seen so far with essay 3. And so those of you guys, if you have questions, feel free to drop into my office hours. I'm always happy to answer any questions you have. Remember, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 a.m. that during that hour. Tuesday, Thursday during the 2 o'clock hour. A lot of times I don't make that one, but if you email me ahead of time, I'll make sure not to miss it. A lot of times there's other meetings and other things I have going on during that time of day, but I will make sure to make it to that so that we can talk. And if for some reason those times don't work for you, I can sometimes be flexible and try to meet with you other times of the day as well. So guys, that is what we're doing this week. Again, if you need any help, I'm very happy this week to, if you need some help with your thesis or specifics on your argument, that is what this week is the week to do it. Don't wait till next week, okay? Because next week you should already have done your whole essay and it should be in the peer review stage. So work on that, and I will be looking forward to reading your arguments. All right, guys, get to work, and I'll see you next week.